also at Star Wars Celebration over the weekend, they didn't just release Star Wars Battlefront 2 trailer, they also released
Rebels. Yep, that's right. The Rebels Season 4 trailer.
Season 4 trailer and the episode as well. They previewed the season premiere of Season 4. Absolutely. I'm excited for that. The last final season of Rebels. But they also premiered the teaser to Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And we just actually watched it just before we went live. Mo, what was your take on the teaser?
I mean, I like where it's going. I like all the stuff.
Where is it going?
Yeah.
What
do you know? Did you read the script?
Yeah. You have inside information.
Do you know something at Disney or Lucasfilm? What do you know? What do you know? When did you know it?
I like that there's a lot of... I know that it's spaced out with the story, and they're telling the story, and then there's going to be action. I like what they're doing with the action.
I don't know. I like that sweet-ass black X-Wing. I didn't want that blown up.
Right?
That was awesome.
As far as story, it's only a review. It's only a teaser. It's only a teaser. Yes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
That was a trailer. It's okay. You don't need to give them the marketing terms. I don't care if it's a teaser or a trailer. It was a
teaser trailer.
I'll watch it.
Whatever. It was 2 minutes of footage, and we all enjoyed it.
Dude, all I need is 2 minutes.
Yeah. That's it.
What do you do with the other minute and 57 seconds?
Once they put Lucasfilm, I blew my load, and I was good. I didn't see the rest of it. I had to watch it like 5 times.
We had to wait for 45 minutes so he could get his breath back. Yeah.
I'm huffing and puffing.
Hey, there's no Jar Jar Binks, so as long as
I actually want him back.
He started the damn Clone Wars.
Exactly. I like the drunken kung fu Sith Lord kind of idea. I do like that. I thought that was inventive.
That was pretty cool. But it was his voice. I think that's it. It wasn't the character so much. It was more the voice. Yeah. It wasn't the character in general. It was just like the way he talks. It just killed me
No, the Nemoidians were the same thing.
Yeah.
That was the worst Asian racist stereotype I've seen.
Yes.
Rich, what was your initial reaction to the teaser? You sold?
I was already sold though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. I didn't find anything offensive. There's some good takes on stuff. Luke's line at the end was a good tease of, what does that mean?
What do you guys think that means?
What do
you think's going on?
I think he's a great Jedi. Or, he's a great Force user. He's not light, he's not dark. He's found that you need balance. That's the whole point. And going to either extreme is not going to be helpful, because if you cut yourself off from emotional attachments to be a Jedi, you can't really service people because you can't love. But if you're overly passionate about things, you get too caught up and, you end up force choking your wife and almost killing her twin babies because you're so worried that something's going to kill her.
Would have been him.
Yeah, so...
But does he know about that story? Does he know that
No, but I mean, he might know parts of it. Remember, Obi-Wan was there, and Force Ghost is apparently still training him.
Oh, that's
There's the rumor that Yoda's going to be in the movie as either a Force Ghost or something else. But I would assume a Force Ghost because it was kind of shown in Return of the Jedi. That
I want Hayden Christensen back. I actually read that there's a long time ago that he was in talks.
But that was Force Awakens kind of stuff.
Oh, was it for The Force Awakens?
Yeah. No, but he showed up at Celebration. He's still on good terms.
I know, he started Celebration, but I actually filmed that it would be Anakin Skywalker as a Force Ghost.
Yeah, because they were going to wasn't the Ghost going to be switching between Anakin and Darth Vader, that he was kind of showing that he was in between? Yeah. I think that
would be
actually
cool.
Makes sense.
Or playing both sides.
No, I actually think he was conflicted, because that was part of the backstory, even now in canon, is that Darth Vader considered Anakin was a different person, and Anakin was dead. So that's part of where you get that whole Obi-Wan, and he says, in a manner of speaking, kind of way, or from a certain perspective, is that, he killed Anakin, but you're Anakin.
And that's why the Force Ghost, when they changed it, when he did George Lucas's 6th iteration of Return of the Jedi, it went to Hayden Christensen, because that was Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. And the old man would have been Darth Vader, so. But they were going to do that, but that also, if you're going to try to do some kind of redemption or challenging Kylo Ren's perception of what the Force and balance means, it would make sense to have him as a dark side user that falls to the light, give you the inverse. They're both extremes, so it makes sense to be. And the Rebels, the Bindu, he's the one in the middle. It made sense that you're trying to put forward these things. Remember from the KOTOR days, Jolie Bindo, that was a good example. He fell in love with somebody and decided, I don't need your rules. I still don't want to harm other people, but you're missing out on great aspects of life and existence. So
or Kyle Katarn.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you become a Jedi long after you've been a youngling.
Right.
So,
and then,
that's why you don't train him.
And then Kylo Ren, it looked like he had the Anakin scar above his eye.
Yeah.
So it's probably from his damn lightsaber. Probably accidentally cut himself. What's that thing used for? Did they actually say the logistics of why it comes out on the sides?
Yeah. Because his crystal is broken. So it needs to vent off the extra energy. That's why it has the...
What a loser. Can't get a good crystal?
No, because it's an ancient blade. It was like... Okay, so here's the nerdy Star Wars stuff. If you didn't think I would be the one who knew this. The crystals, the kyber crystals that they use for the lightsabers, they attach to people. Well, because you're a dark side user, the crystals kind of reject you. So when the first Jedi fell and became Dark Jedi, they had to create synthetic crystals. That's why they're all red. That's why you have the different spectrum in the Jedi Order, where you have blue and yellow and green. And if you're that one guy that's Mace Windu, who is not alive, I like the idea that I love Sam Jackson, and he's in everything, and he should be because he's awesome. But I don't want another guy that fell into hiding, but, oh yeah, he happened to not ever talk to Obi-Wan or Luke or Yoda or anything. He's just been hiding for 40 years. I think that's a crappy way of handling it, but if they got a good story, I'll go with it. But, no, they're synthetic
He'll have his
crystals.
own movie, standalone.
Yes,
Mace Windu.
that's what I want to see. With one hand, because remember that got chopped off.
It's a robotic arm now.
That's set forth in the other stuff. It makes sense, but he's just lightly charred and maybe broken legs from the fall. They're synthetic crystals.
Darth Maul came back. Darth Maul came back with no legs, so it's possible.
Yes, that's the one problem is that I don't think a lot of people know that Darth Maul survived that.
Darth Maul survived somehow. I still have no idea how the explanation was. He hated the Jedi.
His bond with the Force is so strong, and his hate fed him.
His hate fed him, but he was
like
cut in half.
No, but just like how Jedi can heal, they got Force heal. He basically he was staving off death with his hatred. Right. Yeah. Plus, it wasn't just him. It's the whole thing with the Night Sisters and all that kind of stuff.
So my hatred for you two, it can make me survive.
I mean,
it's done wonders for me.
I love you both. I love you both. But the teaser trailer, again, it doesn't matter. I want them to keep as much secret. Same with The Force Awakens. They didn't really show very much with the plot details.
Yeah. Well, it's not slated till Christmas. I mean, it's still a lot of time ago.
Which is a good point. You don't need to give away the whole movie
and
at all.
And you
certainly more than 6 months out, you certainly don't.
But they had to put this out before Guardians of the Galaxy. This will definitely be attached to Guardians when Guardians comes out.
No, you put it out for Celebration to kind of...
Well, no, Celebration, but in the theaters. So it'll be attached to Guardians. So Celebration was perfect. Guardians, I think that's what they did 2 years ago with The Force Awakens. Yeah, they did. Sense. But they did their first one for Thanksgiving a year before. They did a quick little minute, 20-second.
But then some of that was them putting a stamp on this is the Disney property now.
Yeah.
Trying to say we're back and we're forgetting about the prequels. We're going to move away from that. They needed to say new management.
Yeah, and it's a good way to say, like, we didn't forget. Here's a little something to kind of hold you over. You got, a whole time to go. We'll get there. We'll show you something else a little bit later. Keep you kind of hungry for it, and when it comes out.
Well, and they were rehabilitating it. I mean, there were plenty of people who liked it, and I'm not arguing if you're a fan of the prequels. You're not wrong. It's just your opinion. Yeah. My opinion is the opposite. I don't think that they were good movies, and I don't think that they did the right thing, but as even George Lucas will say, they're movies for kids, so we don't need to get in a fight about it. Oh. But they had kind of damaged their own IP, so when they bought that, they needed to rehab it a little bit and say, under new management, you were here before and you had bad service, but that was them. This is us. Give us a try, because these are still the pancakes you guys like. So
$4 billion to buy Star Wars.
Money well spent.
Yes, they're gonna get their money back.
Yeah, and then some.
So what do you think is going to be Luke Skywalker's role? Do you think he does want the end of the Jedi? I know you said gray area, but what does that mean? Does he want to train? It looked like he was training Rey.
I think that's where Kylo fell. He was trying to enforce rules in a place where things have changed. So when he was trying to enforce rules, that's where Kylo went to the dark side, is because it didn't work for him. And it's because he was emotional. He obviously is emotional. That's why he's having those fits.
Yeah, very.
Well, he has granddaddy issues.
But still, when you don't address that, you skip it. That's why he lost them, and he lost all the students about it. It would make sense if he went back to the old ways, which was there was too much bureaucracy and all these different rules. And you know how it is when someone takes over. It's a good idea at first, but then as you've changed management over hundreds or if not thousands of years, all of a sudden there's a stack of laws that are this big, and all of a sudden someone goes, "Did you know that on Wednesdays you can't use syrup on your breakfast food because it's illegal?" Like, where'd that come from? Oh yeah, 300 years ago they had some weird outbreak of some bacterial infection, so they outlawed it on Wednesdays because that minimized the risk. Well, that's how it is. I'd hate to see someone go to jail. Instead of changing it, they just go with the flow, and it builds up too much crap.
Or why don't you just end the Jedi? There would be no Sith if there wasn't any Jedi.
Yeah, there would. The Sith aren't related directly that there has to be a Jedi for them to fight.
No, but you think like Anakin Skywalker, he was a Jedi. He turned to the dark side, destroyed the majority of the Jedi, goes on a hunt, and then the balance, there's 2 and 2, supposedly, right? Yoda, Obi-Wan, Sidious, and...
Well, that's because of Darth Bane, but okay.
Correct. So, Luke Skywalker's aware of that. His dad was Jedi, went bad, killed Jedi, and then now he trains Kylo Ren as a Jedi, wipes out his academy, and then becomes apprentice of the Sith.
No. He's not Sith, he's just a dark side user. They're not Sith.
Okay, he's a dark side user,
yeah.
But you turn to the dark side.
Yeah,
but they all started at the origins of being a Jedi.
I get that, but what is Snoke? Because we don't know if he's a Force user, and he's not a Sith. He's at least aware, if not a dark side user. He's aware of the dark side, but the leading theory is that he came from the Empire, that he might be that general that basically formed the First Order, or he was someone in that little inner circle. Okay, don't know for sure that's going to be part of the movie. But he wasn't a Jedi. He'd never been a Jedi. Palpatine was not a Jedi. He'd never been trained. He was a dark side user and added and became that. So I get your point, but removing the Jedi doesn't remove your fall of the dark side.
But the dark side users though, like knowing the history now, if you get rid of the Jedi, Kylo, Rey, Luke, who else?
Yeah, but it's the fall of someone that is trying to use the Force for light side pursuits, gets seduced by the shortcuts and the power that's presented from the dark side. You don't have to be a Jedi. You could just be in the Resistance and then go, you know what would be better is if I could just like force choke the moon into obliteration and they can't use it to blow up 4 planets at once. And then that makes you a dark side user. You're not Sith, you're not Jedi, but it's the same path. Has nothing to do with it.
But they all originated by being a Jedi.
No, a lot of them have.
Yeah, so
but that's like
cut out the middleman.
No, but that's like you saying, you know how we get rid of dirty cops? No cops. We just get rid of all cops.
Excellent plan.
No cops,
that's an excellent strategy. I'm for that.
You can't have a dirty cop if there's no law enforcement. But you need that meme right now.
No, but it's easier though. But it's easier right now if Luke wanted to. There's only very few Force users. Then you just.
But they don't have to be Jedi. They don't have to be Sith. The point I'm making is they're not necessarily light side or dark, and I think that's his journey is realizing true balance comes from accepting both sides.
So because no affiliation.
Yeah,
no affiliation.
Find your own way, have your own little moral code or things that you'll do, but there's times when you need to choke a bitch, and then there's times when you need to heal the world.
Anakin Skywalker, is that when he had to do
No, that was wrong, but... Okay.
Sometimes you had to choke a bitch.
Listen,
that's what he did.
Nobody really gives Mace Windu shit, but basically he was trying to take over political power. He didn't know at the moment until they were in the office that Sidious was a Sith user or was a Dark Force user.
He had an idea.
He showed up with 4 Jedi and was going to take him on, and they all got gutted except for him, and then he took them on. But he was basically trying to overthrow the government. Now
he had an idea. Anakin Skywalker said, "I think he's the."
He didn't know, and he didn't trust Anakin because he thought that there was something odd about Anakin.
Yeah.
And who did he turn to for help in those last moments that turned on him and cut off his hand? Anakin. So he obviously, again, wasn't the brightest guy, which is why I don't think that he should survive. That's part of Darth Vader's fall is that he killed Mace Windu, and we're like, oh, he was a badass motherfucker. Yeah, Darth Vader sliced him right the fuck up and sent him out the window. That's what makes them villains. If everybody survives that shit, they're not villains.
Dude, Rogue One.
They're just throwing punches.
Those 30 seconds.
I was going to bring that up. I get why that's badass, but considering that was literally like 20 minutes before Episode 4 started, I hate that scene's there. It looks cool, but it doesn't make sense because he never does that in the original trilogy, and there's no reason that comes up in Rogue One of why he can't, other than I guess he respects Obi-Wan, so that's why they have their old man saber fight.
I know, he beat some ass in that hallway, and then Obi-Wan, that fight in A New Hope.
No, and here's my thing is that when I bring up problems, I like to figure them out. I'm not just criticizing, I think I've got a solution too. Here's what I would have done. He had been injured in the fight of Mustafar, kind of been brought back as Darth Vader, has those things, has this little fight with Ahsoka during Rebels, right? But she injures him. She fucked him up a little bit. What if it went a little bit farther and like she hacks him in half? So not just like he's cut off at the knees, like she Darth Mauls him. Now he's replaced even more. That explains why he doesn't have the same control, because the droids walk weird. They walk like they're in Mass Effect Andromeda. Do we all not talk about C-3PO? They all kind of walk like that. So what if that's why Darth Vader fights like this against Obi-Wan? So Obi-Wan's age, Darth Vader's inability because he's so injured or he's been replaced by, robotic appendages. That's why he fights like that, as opposed to that prequel shit of the flips and the force jumps and the Jedi speed and all that kind of stuff. You get rid of that because he can't do it because he's half robot. That would have made sense.
He wanted to take it easy on his old master.
But he had no problem like wiping out 30 guys for a data tape that he still didn't get, even though he could have easily used the Force and brought the guy back and held him there, and then stabbed him and then used the Force to like pull it back through or open the doors. No, he's like, oh damn, I guess I'll track them for the next 20 minutes.
He was pretty badass in The Force Awakens, the beginning when you play as him. I don't know if you guys played
The Force Unleashed?
Force Unleashed, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Force Unleashed.
He kills Wookiees?
Yeah, he's just like...
Takes out Wookiees.
He's just going crazy.
Which is no longer canon.
Yeah, right.
But
no longer canon. No longer canon.
It doesn't count anymore. That's only in Legends.
Yeah.
Starkiller, unfortunately, is not there for the formation of the rebellion.
All right, one last topic of the teaser. Rey. The director did say her parents, or where she came from, will be revealed in Episode 8. Who do you guys think Rey is? Mo?
I don't know. Really don't know.
No idea?
Nope.
Any guesses? What do you think? She's just random? Think she's Luke's baby?
Luke's baby? That'd be a head turner for sure. I mean, we could go with that, just for speculation or whatever.
That's what made sense back then. They said, though, that the parents don't appear in Force Awakens. So even though he didn't have lines, Luke did appear. So I would think that eliminates him. I think that she obviously has to come from lineage of a Force user. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back the cloning thing. That kind of made sense. But I think that the parent is the pilot whose helmet she has. Now that could just be stuff she found from the Battle of Jakku. But here's the problem: is that people that were paying attention, I don't take credit for this, just watched it. But if you look at the pilot, they're using that galactic coding on there. The name there is Lieutenant Rey. So she either wrote that like, oh, I'm going to be a pilot, and she put her own name on there, or she got named after, she had that helmet, and someone's like, well, what do we call her? I don't know. Her stuff says Rey. I guess her name's Rey.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
No. Well, I didn't either. That's one of those things I wouldn't have known. I don't know.
I'm still going with my initial instinct as she's a Kenobi.
I like that idea too.
I like that.
And that's my thing is she might be under their, she's being raised by them, but that doesn't mean that they're genetically her parents. She could be adopted, put there because it's the cloning thing. Do you guys know anything about the Sentinel droids?
X-Men.
No, even actually in the Battlefront 2.
Sentinels.
The Battlefront 2. When she walks in and you see it looks like a Crimson Guardsman, except he doesn't have the helmet. It's a video screen, and basically the Emperor had recorded like last messages, like if I die, these things go active, and they tell you like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna fuck them up. Here, I'm activating all these other
fuck some shit up.
Like, you know how they had Order 66 was kill all the Jedis, basically? So it's like, here's Order 67, 68, 69, all the way through like 1,000. Get going. And that's what that character is there for. And they've shown up in books, and they've shown up in the comics. They haven't shown up in Rebels, of course, it's a different time frame. But now this is them putting him in the video game. It would make sense if it was one of those, okay, clear out the cloning vats, ends up, and that leads to somehow these rebels get a young baby or a little girl, and the Battle of Jakku happens. She gets left behind on the planet because of the devastation from that last space battle, and gets raised there.
And I just think Kenobi, while watching over Luke, met some chick in the cantina, bangs her.
That's against the Jedi way. That would make him more of a gray.
You're in exile.
A gray Force user as opposed to a Jedi.
You're in exile, man.
But no, that's the whole. That's why the Last Jedi would make sense.
Dude, 20 years of no pussy.
He went conceivably, other than Satine.
Dude,
which
in the desert by yourself.
Anything more than kiss her.
What are you gonna do in the desert by yourself?
He's a monk.
No, I don't believe it. He had to get pussy at least one time in 20 years.
That's the point of what I'm
saying.
One time.
No, that's what I'm saying, though, is that's part of why they fall, is because they're told you need to uphold all these standards. Well, sex is one of these passionate, emotional kind of things that'll lead to the path of the dark side.
Dude, I would be dark side easy. Like, use those force powers during sex. Like, I would be done.
Where are we going with this?
Just so you can choke yourself. We get it. You're a weirdo.
Never thought of that.
We already get it.
Choke myself. There we go. But no, just as a Kenobi, and then Kylo Ren finds out that he's named after Rey's daddy.
Yeah.
With Ben. But we'll see. Again, it comes out December 15th, 2017, so we have plenty of time to get hyped up. But that's our take and our predictions for The Last Jedi. Please let us know in the comments below what your reactions were of the teaser and your predictions for the movie.